In today's world, we observe a phenomenon where many people, especially young men, find themselves unable to leave the comfort zone they occupied in adolescence. Although biologically adult, they behave like eternal teenagers, as they lack the strength or motivation to fully take on the burdens and challenges of maturity. In the works of Jung and his disciple Marie-Louise von Franz, the Latin term puer aeternus is used to describe exactly this type of person, one who, like the character Peter Pan, resists growing up and clings to the adolescent lifestyle. It's worth remembering that in ancient societies, there were rites of passage that marked the transition to adulthood. These rituals were often performed by a group of older men who introduced the harshness and responsibilities of real life. The mother, by her nurturing nature, was more connected to immediate care. Thus, upon leaving maternal protection, the young man underwent tough experiences that prepared him to face the world. The historian of religions, Mircea Eliade, studied these initiation rites and showed that without them, a person is left without a kind of symbolic map to face adult life. This lack of formal transitional structures, coupled with the cultural and family transformations of the 20th century, may explain why so many are stuck in a limbo between childhood and a life of responsibilities. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread these wisdom lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. And don't forget to comment your thoughts about the topic we are discussing. The father, traditionally the catalyst for the son's break with the comforts of home, is often absent, whether due to overwork, disinterest, emotional distance, or simply an inability to establish a guiding bond. Scholars like James Hollis and Robert Moore have found significant rates of fathers who are emotionally distant, forcing the mother to bear the weight of raising the child alone. In this context, she may unconsciously reinforce dependence, as she has to meet not only the child's demands but also the emotional void left by the absence of her partner. This dynamic frequently culminates in the so-called devouring mother, who, without intending to harm, engulfs the young man in an attachment and keeps him in a prolonged infancy. A practical and very common example of this situation arises when a young man, already in his early 20s, continues to live in his parents' house, without helping with expenses or even taking care of his own chores. He lets his mother wash his clothes, make his meals, organize his finances, or even support him when it comes to health insurance, college tuition, and credit card bills. When questioned about seeking a job or a career, he replies that he doesn't feel ready or that the market is difficult, preferring to take refuge in endless hours of online gaming or internet content consumption. He even talks about one day leaving home or one day starting his business, but he doesn't actually move the necessary pieces to get there. When faced with any adversity, he goes back to expecting his mother to intervene and solve it. Another case is the young man who, even having a job, hesitates to take on more serious commitments, such as leaving the childhood bedroom or paying housing bills. For him, the transition would involve dealing with unknown deprivations and pains that go beyond the comfort guaranteed by family. The fear of failing outside the home sounds greater than the desire to experience the world on his own. Thus, the father figure who could encourage him to face risks and provide an example of resilience is absent, or does not consistently play this role, leaving a vacuum that the mother, no matter how good her intentions, cannot fill. This situation becomes even more complicated when the overburdened mother unwittingly reinforces dependence so as not to also lose the affective role she has assumed. To break this cycle, some scholars suggest that the young man seeks substitute mentors, teachers, coaches, therapists, or even more experienced friends who can offer an external reference for how to live independently. It can also be helpful to engage in activities that require some level of challenge and discipline, such as a team sport or study group, as these experiences are practical laboratories for learning to deal with conflicts, frustrations, and autonomy. In parallel, understanding that growing up implies pain, frustration, and mistakes can help to face difficulties as inevitable steps. The term puer aeternus does not only refer to a syndrome of laziness or a lack of individual will, but to a phenomenon rooted in complex psychological and social forces. When there is no clear break from maternal dependence, and when paternal guidance or presence cannot be counted on, the result is usually a fragile and oscillating personality that prefers the refuge of instant pleasures to facing the costs, but also the rewards, of a fully realized life. Although this unsupported transition is arduous, it is perfectly possible to walk it by seeking help in new support networks, and by expanding awareness of one's own fears and desires. Growing up requires a willingness to step out of the safety zone and walk an uncertain but potentially rewarding path. Understanding the dilemma of the puer aeternus is ultimately accepting that adulthood brings not only burdens, but a chance to develop full autonomy and discover possibilities that, in the eyes of someone trapped in childhood, didn't even seem to exist. If you've watched until the end, I'm sure you'll also enjoy my last video that is appearing on your screen now. See you next time.